mentioned, this session is focused on Forder's product innovation. But what makes a company innovative? And at the end of the day, what really separates the forward thinkers and boundary pushers from the rest of the pack? So to answer that question, I want to share a story about Walt Disney. So he was touring Disneyland before it opened, and as part of that tour, he took a jungle cruise ride. Now, Disney had hired the best robotic engineers on the planet, and they had built the most advanced animatronics anyone had ever seen. I mean, the monkeys swung from the trees, the lions had very lifelike roars, the hippos popped out of the water at just the right moment. It was unlike anything anyone had ever seen for that time. So at the end of the tour, the engineers very anxiously awaited Walt Disney's feedback. Well, he said, there's a bit of a problem. The birds, they don't move. And the engineers were so taken aback because with so much to look at, and the birds were the smallest animals and they were all the way up in the trees, and they were just, they didn't understand why did that matter. There was so much to look at. It didn't make sense to them. And Walt Disney responded that with respect to customer experience, people remember perfect. Now, today at Impact, we have the incredible honor of having some of the world's leading brands represented in this room. And we know that in speaking with many of you, that is exactly what you're striving to deliver. A seamless, secure, and dare I say perfect digital commerce experience for your customers. And at Forder, that is exactly what we're striving to deliver. So I invite you to reimagine what's possible and go on this journey with us so we can unlock digital commerce together. Now, let's go ahead and make that a little bit more real and look ahead to how we're innovating today in 2024 and beyond to deliver on that mission. Now, we have an ambitious roadmap, and we can't cover it all today, so we're gonna focus on highlighting 2 key product innovations framed as an exciting early access product announcement that is live today, and something that is coming in the near future. Now, before we get to our product announcement, let's just go ahead and set the stage. So policy abuse is a growing challenge that is costing merchants millions in lost revenue every year. It is no longer a cost of doing business. And fighting abuse comes with the risk of offending legitimate customers. So striking the right balance to ensure you're effectively blocking abuse while also delivering a quality experience for your legitimate customers is a top priority. Now, we know no 2 brands are the same, and just applying a blanket approach to block all abuse doesn't work. So customization and ensuring you can deliver the right policy at the right time for the right customer is mission critical, and that is exactly what we deliver with our latest product launch. So today, I am so excited to announce the early access launch of our next generation abuse prevention solution through the addition of Policy Builder. Now, this functionality gives merchants complete visibility and control to customize their approach, leveraging their own data to not only block abuse, but delight customers. So Ghislaine, could I invite you to take us through a demo walkthrough and just make this a little bit more real for us?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Oksana. So we already support many of you in this room with your abuse prevention needs. But with Policy Builder is a smarter, easier way to now proactively manage your abuse. It fundamentally changes how you currently interact with your own policies. Policy Builder will now enable you to view, edit, create, and simulate policies directly from the Forder dashboard. So let's get to it. All right, so within the portal, you'll have a holistic view of all your policies from a single dashboard. We categorize and manage policies based on decision touchpoints. Relevant decision touchpoints for abuse prevention are checkout and post-purchase. That means that we can detect your worst abusers up funnel at checkout. You could either decline those that you simply don't want to do business with, or flag others that you want to anticipate how to address them should they reach out for service down the line. Policies post-purchase will enable you to make an informed decision as to how you want to handle a refund or a returns request. You could determine confidently whether you want to add friction to your experience or simply have a seamless and delightful experience for your most trustworthy and profitable customers. Within the portal at checkout, you'll be able to create policies for a number of use cases. So let's pretend for a second I'm a fraud analyst at an apparel company. I have a limited item policy for a new product launch. I have a reseller policy. I have a returns policy. I have a reshipper policy. And I even have a birthday promo policy, all in different stages. Now, more recently, we've been experiencing a huge item not received problem, particularly related to service chargebacks. And I'm sure this is really contextual to many of you today. So I've decided to create and test out a policy. I'm going to go ahead, name my policy, INR with service chargeback. I'm going to pick out my policy type. I'm going to determine what action I want forwarder to take when a transaction meets the conditions I set below. And then I proceed to create my condition. Now, forwarder will serve up a list of attributes that are highly contextual to the policy type I selected above. I will be able to select the conditions, create the conditions that I want, select the attributes, and even determine the thresholds I want to apply for each one of them. So here, I've created a draft. This policy is still inactive. I can edit it as many times as I want. The policy states that decline any transaction where the identity behind the transaction has accumulated more than $500 in INR refunds over a lifetime on my site and has filed more than 2 service chargebacks in the last 365 days. Or decline the transaction if the identity behind the transaction has had more than 15% of INR refunds relative to the total orders over 365 days and has also filed more than 2 service chargebacks in that same time frame. Now, like any good analyst, I want to be able to understand the implications that this policy would have on my live traffic, both in volume and value. So forwarder allows me to run 2 types of simulation. Either a historical simulation, which is essentially a look back at all my transactions in the last 30 days and understanding what the impact would have been, or a production simulation, which is putting the policy in some kind of listen mode and staging mode, and you're able to get some insights on a go-forward basis. So I decide to get some immediate insights and run a historical simulation. Now, my policy still remains inactive. It's not impacting anything. And I'm able to actually get a view and understand that if this policy was live in the last 30 days, 197 transactions would have been declined. Now, it's a little less than 1% of the total orders I have seen in that same time frame, but also it equates to $21,000 in value. While these volumes seem relatively low, the value is not insignificant. The graph below is interactive. once you click on a spike, you would be able to see exactly how many transactions would have been declined by that policy on a given day during that 30-day period. Now, I want to get incremental insights. I want to test and learn for a longer period of time, so I choose to run a production simulation. When you run a production simulation, the policy is running in real time against your traffic. It is not performing any action, so you can confidently get more insights over a period of time. I can have this policy run for hours, days, weeks, months, an unlimited amount of time, or I can stop it at any time. You will start collecting data and KPIs will start accumulating as transactions that would have been impacted are identified. Now, the graph below is also interactive, and the beauty about this is when you start clicking on the spikes, not only you'll be able to see the number of transactions that would have been impacted, but you would actually see the list of transactions that would have met that criteria. Now, going back to my policy builder main view, you could see that the new policies that we've just created is now at the bottom of the list. It is in production simulation. You will also have a set of KPIs at the top of the page that will also show you how all your policies together are performing at that particular touch points.
Amazing. Thank you, Ghislaine.
Yeah, but last but not least, Oksana, we at Forder are super lucky to work with hundreds of brands, leading brands like yourselves. We want to lend a hand in helping you and setting you up for success on how you combat policy abuse, but more importantly, deliver on delightful experiences. So we highly encourage you to stop by our policies booth at the Impact Lab, view more demos, definitely provide more insights for us. We love to learn from you, and also meet the team. That's Policy Builder.
Perfect.